Hello, stampers and crafters. Welcome to my Friday Facebook Live. If you're new here, I am Sarah Chatello, SassyPaperCrafts. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today we are going to be working with the Poinsettia Petals stamp set and the Poinsettia Dies. But first, before we get started, I just wanted to announce officially here on my public page that I will be having a live sale at the end of Christmas in July, and I hope you've all been enjoying Christmas in July. So what that is in my VIP group, you'll find the link in the description of this video. You can go ahead and join my VIP group. I have an event, and it's going to be July 25th, and I will be having a massive sale of retired products that you can't really get anywhere else. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, go ahead and join my VIP group. And for today's card, I got to show you this. I am super excited about this. It is so pretty. I call this the Poinsettia Metal card, which looks like metal. It's so cool. I don't know if you can see the shimmer. And then we're going to do some heat embossing. There's a lot that goes into this card, but it is really a lot simpler than it looks. This looks like super complicated. It really isn't. The dies here and everything do a lot of the work for you. So let's get started in our crafting. We're going to do the stamping first. So I have a piece of basic white, and all the measurements and everything will be on my blog after this video. So I will link in the comments. Good morning, Tara, or afternoon. Good morning, Tammy. I know you're in, I think, Pacific time zone, so it's still morning there. Glad you could join us today. So the first thing we're going to do is our stamping. Where did my stamp go? There it is. So this is going to be the inside of our card. And I'm just going to use the little berries from the Poinsettia Petals stamp set. And you can tell my stamp set is very well loved. We're going to get that, and I'll get out my sentiment, and it's this one here, the Made Magic and Wonder Bloom this holiday season. Those are only the two stamps we're going to use. I'm going to get crumb cake ink and a C block for my little berries. I'm just going to ink that up. I have cat hair stuck to the block, because of course I do. I'm just going to stamp those in the corners of our card. I always like to decorate the inside a little bit. So we're done with the crumb cake. Now, for our sentiment, I have a strip somewhere in my life, or maybe I didn't, nope, there it is, found it. It is a strip of basic white, and this is cut at 1.5 by 5 inches, and we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. And I like heat embossing. It's just a really cool, simple way to make your card pop and stand out. We're also going to be doing some dry embossing too, using an embossing fluid. So this card, I would say, is more for the casual to avid crafter. We're kind of throwing the kitchen sink at it today, where we're using lots of different techniques, lots of different styles. So if you're a beginner and just starting out, this card might not be for you, but don't go anywhere, because you might learn a few simple tips and tricks that you can use in your card making. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have an embossing buddy. We don't sell these anymore. I have seen them at craft stores, and I've seen them on Amazon. Hi, Colleen. Good morning. You can use one of those, or you can even use just a dryer sheet, a used dryer sheet. You don't want to get any residue from the dryer sheet onto your cardstock, but a used one would work. I'm just all that does is just gets the static off of the paper. So when we put our embossing powder on, it doesn't stick where we don't want it to stick. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp with the Versamark, just like I would any other ink color. And Versamark is a watermark ink pad. So this is going to be clear. So it's going to be, have cat hair stuck to everything. It's going to be clear, so you're not really going to be able to see it. And I'm going over pretty far to the right. Try to hold that up. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's there. I can see it faintly. I'm going to put that away, and oh my goodness, this piece of hair, you guys. And then I just have a scrap piece of copy paper, printer paper. I'm going to set that there, and you'll be able to see where I stamp in just a second. And this is gold embossed powder. This is the old style. It now comes in a metallic pack where you get silver, copper, and gold. I've had this stuff forever. I swear, a jar of it lasts for years. I'm just going to go over the Versamark where I stamped, tap the excess off, and see, now you can see it. There's still a little bit stuck. Just flick the back of it. There, that's better. I'll set that aside for the rest of this back into the jar. I've probably had this jar for 6 years, and it's just about halfway gone. So seriously, like, the investment in this stuff, it lasts forever. Tara Oliver just wants to be a part of, has a part of it in my cards. Yeah, Oliver wants to be in everything. That's why he's not allowed in here, especially during a live. He would be all over the desk. So now I'm just taking my heat tool, and we do still sell these, and I'm going to heat up the powder, but I'm going to do it so that way, hopefully you can see it burn. Normally, I just put the heat tool straight on, and I hope this isn't too loud and that you can still hear me. And you just kind of move it around. I don't like to leave it at one spot. You don't want to scorch your paper. I've been known to do that. This tool does get kind of hot there. It's starting to turn. And you kind of move it around until it all turns gold. And try not to burn your hand. Like I said, this is just about as hot as a hair dryer. So, I mean, if you leave it on one spot, it can burn you. So just be careful. And yeah, that is all set. Isn't that cool? Let me just put my heat tool where I hang it up on my wall, and I can just barely reach it without knocking everything over. There we go. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to make our background here and our poinsettias, or poinsettia leaves. So for that, I'm going to need my cut and emboss machine. Let me clean off my stamp and put that away so that way I don't lose it or set it somewhere and forget where I put it. Because I do that quite a bit too. So our stamping is all done. I'm going to put that away. Get my dies out, move these aside, and bring in my machine. So we're going to do the embossing first. So for that, I need a #1 platform, and I'm going to be using the Wintry 3D embossing folder. There's 2 in this pack, and these are in the annual catalog. So I'm going to go with the pine needles here. There's also the really pretty snowflakes, which would look really cute on this card. But I'm going to use the pine needles. And then I have somewhere a piece of vellum, and this is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So if you notice, our embossing folder is not big enough for that. So I'm going to show you how you can emboss the whole thing, even though it's not big enough for it. So I'm just putting it in. Okay, I'm going to bump that, but I'm just putting it in and leaving a little bit off to the edge. So since this is a 3D embossing folder, I'm just setting this down on the platform and then taking my #4 plate and putting my folder in seam side first and my #4 plate over the top. And we're just going to run that through. And so I'll show you, push all this back through. So when I open it up, it's all nice and embossed, but we have this about 1.25 inch piece here that's not embossed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it back around and we're going to emboss that part. Now I want to be sure to make it so that it fits through the machine. So I might have to go over something that's already been embossed, but that's okay because we are going to put our poinsettias and our sentiments on top of that. I'm just going to run that back through again, just the same as I did before. And you kind of want to be a little bit careful with vellum. Vellum is very delicate, so it could tear. And you can see there where we overlapped a little bit, but like I said, that's okay. We'll be covering that up. It'll be fine. So that is done. I'm going to put my number 4 platform away, or plate away. And now we're going to do some die cutting. So I have already cut out 2 of the poinsettias, and I'm going to be showing you how to cut out one of them and then the leaf. So I've already used these, and these are the brushed metal cardstock, and they were in, I want to say the mini catalog, but they will be maybe last year's holiday. I didn't look that part up, but they will be back in the new mini, the July to December mini catalog. So these papers coming back, and I believe there is a gold, bronze, and copper in that. So here I have the copper piece. We're going to be using that for the leaves. And I also have, and I think this did not carry over, but I have a lot of it, so I'm using it. And this is the metallic specialty paper that was in the January to June mini catalog. And I just love how that looks. So this is also a good reminder to use up what you have. You don't have to have the exact same paper, stamp sets, whatever that I have. I have this piece left, so I'm going to use that for that's going to be our poinsettia, and then our leaves are going to be die cut. So let me show you these dies. They are beautiful, and there's a lot of them. So the 2 larger poinsettias came from these dies. We're going to be using the smaller one here, and if you notice, there is a middle. That does not cut, that embosses. So the leaves also have that, and I will show you what I do to make sure they line up. I'll show you on the big one, even though we're not using it. I'm just going to flip this over. And if you look, I made a mark with a Sharpie. And now every time I use this, all I do is line those up. And I know that that's in the right way because they're not attached. So that's what I did on this one too. So I'm going to put this down. Oops, just hitting the camera there. Put this down there and then line up my Sharpie mark. And now I know that everything is in place where it's supposed to be. The leaves aren't as big of a deal. They're pretty self-explanatory in how they go. I just have to get it in there. There. And if you'd like, you could use a piece of washi tape or a Post-it note to hold those down. I think they'll be okay. So I'm just gonna run it as is, and I'm putting cutting pad on top and running it through. Tammy says such a great stamp set and die set, and I agree. I'm so glad this carried over. This is in last year's holiday mini. So now it's all ran through, and I'm going to show you. So those are our leaves, and then this one is super cool. If I can get it to come out. I might have wanted to run that one more time. Nope, it worked. Look how pretty. You can see the embossing detail in there. Oh, so pretty. Love it. All right, let me just move this stuff out of the way, and then we are ready to put our card together. So I have a crumb cake base that is 5 1/4 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. And then I have another piece of basic white that is 5 1/4 by 4. And then, like I said, our piece of vellum is 3 3/4 by 5. And all these measurements will be on my blog. And then we have our words. Let me find out I have it upside down. So I'm just covering up where that went. So what I did is, because vellum is see-through, I put down the sentiment strip first. Now I'm using Seal Plus here just because I want it to be stuck really well to the vellum. So I'm hiding where we kind of double emboss. It's over just a little bit, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. So then what I can do, lose my seal, which I did lose it. I have some snail left. I will use that. This is not available anymore, but I still have some left. So I just put the snail where my sentiment was. And then what I'm going to do, because these are easier to hide, is take a few glue dots and roll them up and put them in the corner. I might not even have to roll them up. As long as you put them behind something detailed, it kind of hides them. They're hard to see. And I don't think generally people go looking for the glue dots and how you've adhered things to a card. And you know what? If they do, it's handmade, and oh wow. Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see them through there, but I think once we set it down, it'll be okay. I'm just going to line that up. Push it down. And then we can assemble our poinsettia. So I took the biggest one first, and then a glue dot on the middle one, right in the middle. And then what I did was I just kind of offset the petals like that. And then we'll take our smaller one and put a glue dot in the middle of that. And then offset it again. And then what I like to do is I have a foam block, I guess it is. This came from my clear black caddy. When you order the clear black caddy, it comes with these foam pieces. I use this for my paper piercer. Clearly, there's holes all in it. And I'm just going to take that and take the end of my piercer and push it, just to make those petals pop up slightly. And then I'm going to take glue dots. That's right. I did not use dimensionals on this one, which you could if that's what you have. But I'm going to take a few glue dots and put them just around on the petals. And then I don't want to cover up our sentiment, so I'm just kind of placing this to where you'll still be able to see everything, but it's not completely over the card, so when we put it on our base, the petals don't get folded up when you put it in the envelope or anything. Now we're just going to put on our leaves. And you could use seal for this. I didn't get mine out of my paper pumpkin box that I had it in, so I'm using glue dots. I'm not sure where I want this. I think I'm going to put it over here. And I'm just sliding it under and pushing it down. Oh, glue dots are tricky sometimes. They're a lot better than the paper pumpkin dots can be, though. I'm sliding this underneath. And I love how that looks. So now we are going to I'm going to take some of my Seal Plus again, because that's what I have handy, and attach this to my card base. And oh, I did forget something, but it's okay. I don't really think this needs it. I think it's stunning without it. I forgot the ribbon, but we've already put everything down. So there was a little bit of the fine art foil, or fine art, not foil, just fine art ribbon that carried over from the January to June mini catalog. It's on this card. I honestly don't think I need it because this is just so stunning. So I'm okay that I forgot the ribbon. What I am going to use, though, is, you know what? I think I need a glue dot under this piece of vellum because it's popping up and driving me crazy. There, that's better. Okay. So what I am going to use, these are brand new in the July to December mini catalog, the Brush Metallic Adhesive Back Dots. I used a gilded gem on the original card. I didn't have these yet. But now that I have these, I'm going to use them. And I like the shape of them. So, and they're round, but they kind of, some of them look a little flawed, I guess. And I think it's just because of the reflection of them. But there looks to be copper, gold, copper, gold, and silver in there. And I think I'm going to go with a copper one. I'm just going to place that right in the middle of our poinsettia. And then all we have to do is put in the inside. Taking my Seal Plus again, and you can use Seal or glue dots or tear and tape, liquid glue, whatever you happen to have. And that is our card, minus the ribbon. But you know what? That's okay. I don't think it really needs the ribbon. What do you think? Well, I hope you enjoyed our project today. And don't forget, if you are interested in seeing the retired products that I have for sale, be sure to join my VIP group. The link is in the description of this video. And I will see you guys next Friday. Thanks so much for watching.